Hey everybody, this is Perch. Um, I think this story is a little older, probably by the time both I'm getting to the mail and this video is going out. But anyway, let's read the mail, which is outlining a certain issue, and then we'll get into a little bit of facts behind it, and then we'll talk through it. So it says, "Hey Perch, hope you and the family are well. I just found out that the Brevard Public School Board in Florida banned the first volume of Sho Harushono's BL, that's Boy Love, manga, Sasaki and Miyano from the district's local school libraries during a board meeting late last month after a parent complained about the manga's availability in libraries on the grounds that sexual orientation should not be encouraged, suggested, or implanted in the youth, along with concerns children would be exposed to age inappropriate, obscene, and explicit content, and that there was no value in making homosexual books available at school. A lot of those things were in quotes. That's the janky reason I was reading them, or why I was reading it that way. We'll finish with the mail, and we'll go into a little bit of more of the facts around kind of this particular case. It says, note, this manga is rated T for teens, doesn't feature any obscene or explicit content, so basically a similar situation to the Heartstopper incident. Yes, but I would argue that Sasaki and Miyano is actually a little bit more benign. I think the explicit content is really cuddling. A lot of talk about relationships between two boys, but it's not. But like nobody's pants are coming off. There's no explicit scenes. If this was a movie, it would be probably a PG movie if it was rated, just based on the nudity and or vulgar content or anything else. At no point does one of the characters whip off his pants like, let's get to town, smoke that pipe. There's nothing like that. I just did more in this video than that series has. Heartstopper has a little bit more of that. Again, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's got hardcore action, but at least there's a little bit more suggestive themes. But I say I'll just point out that if you're talking about kind of benign gay graphic novels, this one's pretty benign. A lot of comments like, "Ooh, what will people think?" Kind of, it really is a lot of that. I don't enjoy it, for that matter. Keep in mind, I am not caught up on this manga. A couple of people pointed out to me early on because of it was getting banned in a couple different libraries. This isn't the first. So I went to go check out. It's like, okay, well, people are wondering why, and they're pointing out that it's not explicit. So let me go take a look. And it in my opinion is dull, unless you like kind of romance type comics. I like Rumiko Takahashi's slice of life stuff like the rest of us, like anyone else. But it's a comedy. It's very funny in how it comes across. This is more serious. Anyway, to me, I don't know. Everything lands differently. Let's finish off this mail. Says, what's funny is that the complaint suggested other manga to replace the series, such as Chainsaw Man, To Your Eternity, and The Seven Deadly Sins, among others. Manga titles, which to my knowledge feature a bit more explicit content than Sasaki and Miyano. Yeah, a bit. Either the complainant is a hypocrite, or doesn't know the content featured in the manga suggested. Your thoughts? Well, first off, I think the those titles, To Your Eternity, Chainsaw Man, Seven Deadly Sins, you can find in Target. They sell them there in the graphic novel section. They do not sell Sasaki and Miyano in the graphic novel section, but they do sell other. Hell, Target has genderqueer in it, which is far more explicit than Sasaki and Miyano, or Heartstopper, or frankly many of the others that we've talked about, straight or gay. I would not suggest Chainsaw Man in a elementary school. So I'm sorry, I would not. Is it the, and this is, I rarely get to use this phrase. Is it the literal Nazis? And I mean literal. Is it the massive violence? Is it the nudity? I don't know. Lots of reasons. But Chainsaw Man, I look, lots of people have different views on things, but generally speaking, and I know this is going to sound super crazy to most of you, Elementary school students are, under 13. They are under the PG banner. Therefore, the material that you provide in the school library should probably be the same, whether it's straight, gay, the depictions of war, or whatever. Once upon a time, I mean, you would have elementary school students get history lessons about World War II and the Holocaust and everything else, but they wouldn't have those books out free roaming in the library. That'd be something taught in class under the supervision of a teacher who could probably put into context and explain the horrors of a lot of these books. If you would properly convey the nightmare of torture and killing people and putting people in ovens and really nightmarish shit that was going on during World War II. And you wouldn't just want that in the library for somebody to pick up and kind of figure out on their own. Now, not all schools behave that way, but that was a general rule of thumb, I would say, once upon a time. So my guess is the person who complained is not a hypocrite. My guess is the person who complained is like, why do we have, gay manga in school that is teaching an LGBTQ lifestyle? Not really. I mean, I would be willing to bet the person didn't carefully read through it. But I mean, if you come into things like, hey, there's a book that's being exposed to children and it's talking about gay themes, and you pick up, this book and you read through it, and sure enough, you've got gay themes. The boys are talking about it. Your mind's going to go, well, sooner or later, they're going to take off their clothes and we're going to get explicit content in the hands of students. And so therefore, why not replace this manga with something I see myself on the shelves of Walmart and Target? I mean, it's selling it there, so therefore it must be okay, right? That's, to me, I mean, I'm not in the head of this person, but I'd be willing to bet that's a little bit of the mentality of that's going on here. It's that. It's, I see it. I see it in the store where I shop and get my toothpaste and underwear, so therefore it must be fine. For what it's worth, I think I wouldn't have problems with this particular title. I think it's same-sex relationship. I do think, it's based on romance. And so I think the question you should ask yourself is, at what age do you want kids, reading about romance? If it was a straight couple talking about their feelings, is that something that you'd want in elementary school? You may not care, but more likely, I don't think the students would care. If you're in third grade, the idea of reading a book about a boy and a girl in a relationship is a little odd. Not completely. I mean, Babysitter Club and books that my daughter, has read and consumed for years, and all kinds of this girl is boy crazy, and, that kind of relationship stuff. But kind of a more, but it's done in a more comedy way, a little closer to Ranma. So does this belong in a school library? Maybe not. But the fact that it's a gay couple isn't the factor for me. The factor of is an elementary school place you put a manga that's dealing with a serious relationship? I don't know. I mean, look, I default in a lot of these cases to the parents. I think the parents should kind of police and monitor a little bit of what's going on. And, but is this book offensive? No, it is not. If you believe it's offensive, then it's because it's a same-sex couple and you believe that that's the problem. But this book isn't trying to indoctrinate children. You could say that its very existence does that, but I think that's a huge stretch. But the other reason why parents are bothered by this and why this stuff comes up, and I have a lot of people will send me mail do you think this is right? The school is banning this book. It's because schools have put in books that are highly inappropriate. And to me, the LGBTQ aspect of it is a red herring, because I'll say it as simply as this. If there's a book that's talking about, giving your first blowjob to a boy, and it shows you this, it is in the graphic novel showing you giving a blowjob to a boy, whether it's a girl giving the blowjob or a boy giving it to a blowjob, or somebody who is, non-gender conforming giving a blowjob, whatever it is, it's not, to me, it's not appropriate for an elementary school because of the blowjob, not because of the genders of the people involved in the blowjob. That's the problem. That's not an elementary school book. You could argue when is that book? I don't know. I would argue probably in high school, you shouldn't be having, graphic novels of people giving blowjobs there either. Now, even though those kids are old enough to certainly seen it and heard about it, great. They can find that out in the free market. In a school library, that doesn't seem appropriate. But what's happened is you get a lot of these books in, and then the argument becomes you're just attacking this book because it's gay kids, as opposed to, hey, it's talking about, doing a blumpkin on someone. Like that's the problem. And so it gets all wound up in, gender ideology and these other pieces when really that has nothing to do with anything of why it's inappropriate in the school, in my opinion. And I think I have to believe most of you would agree with this. Like, is anybody in the comments going to come in and go, yeah, book in school, as long as it's a girl giving that kid a blowjob and putting her finger up the boy's ass to simulate him, that's fine. But if it's a boy doing that, no, that's where I draw the line. Are you okay with that book? The first book in an elementary school, the second book not? I'm not. I don't think you should be as a parent or anybody concerned that kids don't know what to do with that shit. And that is why you get allegations of grooming and pedo behavior and all this kind of stuff, is because there are some people who've gone to the mat trying to get books like that into schools. And so this entire controversy is really, it's built on the shoulders of that. And so you got a bunch of people hyper, sensitive to it. In reality, the book itself, Sasaki and Miyato, is benign. It's a fairly benign, at least the part I read, maybe it all picks up, fairly dull. It's not bad, it's just dull to me. It's not my cup of tea because it's dull. That's it. That's all there is to it. But anyway, I can't read the heart of the person. Is the person a hypocrite who complained? Maybe. Was it built on a lot of other nonsense? Almost certainly. Does Chainsaw Man belong in elementary schools? No. Come on. No. Berserk does not belong in like some of these books I enjoy. I like Seven Deadly Sins. It's funny. It's dirty. It's fun. Promised Neverland. Interesting. I like that book a lot. Really good. I waited. My daughter, I wouldn't let her read it until she hit 13. Is that too old? I don't know. It's just the rule I made for my house. My younger daughter, 11, really likes the character designs when she sees it in the book and wants to read it. And I'm like, you're too young for it. Why? Because I don't want my kids read a book of monsters eating children. It's just not. She's not ready for it yet. So, to me, that's where this line gets drawn, and I think a lot of people have kind of incorrectly positioned this on, the characters are gay, when really the question people should be asking themselves is this would this in a movie, would this be appropriate? And I think the entire argument of, in an elementary school, what is the appropriateness of showing couples and, attraction and all that kind of stuff? When do you start doing that? Certainly when you start having, high school dances, sure, having that stuff in there makes sense. Junior high school, probably. Fourth grade, kids 8, 9, I don't know. It feels like relationship books, that's something that I don't think the public school library should be having. Again, whatever the gender. I don't think the problem is a relationship. I think it's a gender. I'm sorry. I said it completely backwards. I don't think it is the gender. I think it is a relationship. There you have it. Anyway, what do you think? Where do you stand on this? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, of course. And thanks for listening.